Clips. And remember, citizens, always subscribe. Hit the notification bell as well. And $19.95 plus shipping and handling will keep you out of hell. Hello. Alright, you boob tubes. Another one of Kip's Clips. Welcome to your kinda daily politics. So if you like politics but are sick of the tits, well, tune into this for your fix of your daily politics. So in the morning, but you should not, well, do whatever you want. For me, I think it's unhealthy to expose yourself on a daily basis, constantly, to the news cycle, because the news cycle is as toxic as social media, or are they one of the same? You know what I mean? You can't escape it. There's people out there with pitchforks and torches that want to burn Gary Lineker that don't know fuck all about football. Anyway, in the morning, so I'm going to start doing the daily politics on a daily basis on the run up to the election. Let me just check. The election is in a week and a day. Then I'll be holding my own non-election. So I can stand up here on my ivory tower and point at all the fucking idiots and go like that. Ha ha ha, you get what you fucking signed up for. No, I voted for the Labour Party. You voted for the institutions and the system. No, I voted for the Greens. You voted for the fucking system and the fucking institutions. I voted for the Conservatives. I voted for Raj. None of them are going to fucking change shit, in my humble opinion. So if you do enjoy daily politics, stick a wee thumbs up, share it with your friends, family, foes, help the channel and the show grow. Because the algos ain't going to help us. So the format is very, very, very simple. Compare notes between the English-speaking talking holes from as many corners of the fucking globe as I can. Now, the common theme, no matter what news organisation you go to, is the world is in fucking fire. You could call it war. You could call it world war. It's all pedantics and getting fucking playing with words. Remember, the Great War, aka World War One, wasn't called that at the time. It was just called war. World War Two, it wasn't called fucking the sequel. It was just called war. It's afterwards. It's the branding afterwards. To dumb it down and simplify it for us simpletons. What we're going through right now, and we'll get into the discussion of when this whole fucking shit show started, or arguably. What we're going through right now, I believe, and I genuinely believe this, the historians in 50 years, 100 years time will look back and go, whew, that was World War III, man. I hope to not be on the alarmist or the, I can't say the doom and gloom, because you touch on the news, all it is doom and gloom. But I don't like to make people cower in fear over bullshit. Chemtrails are going to get you. Oh, the water, the fluoride in the water. Oh, don't drink the coffee, don't drink the tea. You know, I like to I don't even watch YouTube talking heads anymore. Very rarely, man. Sometimes I'll get fucking links sent to me and all that, and I'm like, 2 seconds in, can you listen to that? It's just like, why listen to middlemen? Go straight to the source, man. If you want to, and then make your own mind up. Remember those days back when fucking the truther movement was on? People would promote making up your own mind, thinking for yourself, no groupthink. You kept Tommy. We'll talk about Tommy Robinson as well. But again, the fucking format is very easy. Bounce around and smash it up. Bounce around as many talking holes, shit, stop stuff in there. Bounce around and touch base with as many talking holes, English-speaking talking holes, because I can't speak any of that foreign muck stuff, and compare notes. And then we can sort of along the journey discuss where you think World War III might have happened, might have started. Now, feel free to put other options in the comments, because you only get 4 options. I would argue, right, now 9/11 was the catalyst. That's when they were like, right, we need to make a march, we need to stop the Chi-Coms, and we need to fucking stop the Ruskies, right? And again, remember the days when people would talk about the project of a new American century? Shit like that. I'm just getting nostalgic now. But, so, well, well, you could say the catalyst was 9/11. For me personally, when the gloves came off, and fucking for anybody who had eyes to see, was Syria, you know? Because that is when Russia and America openly, I use that as a capture-all for the West, started butting heads. So for me, I would say Syria, but there's a million and one arguments, isn't there? A million and one arguments. Anywho, so, alright, Unicorn and Devon, the old grand chessboard. I know, Devon, people have fucking memories of goldfish. I mean, you could even say what's going on just now is fallout for World War II, with men and fucking wood panel, fuck, what time's that? Oh shit, I've missed the top of our news, but I've got DVR abilities. People with, men sitting in rooms, wood panelled rooms, drawing lines on fucking maps, like, hey, Sky, I'll take this little peninsula. No, I want this little bit, okay. And that's the reality, right? So after World War II, the cunts that really matter sat in the room, started with a map like that, started drawing lines. Just drawing lines, fucking dividing the world up amongst themselves in a room with God knows how many fucking people in it. Democracy, freedom. So you could argue it is a fallout for all that shit. So, but for me, what I'm sort of pointing to was Syria. I mean, like, I was fucking completely gung-ho fucking in my conspiratardal days, man. Thought it was like some sort of a war reporter and stuff, and looked into that fucking endlessly, far too much, man. Obsessed over it quite easily. Used to know all the different actors and where they were moving, and used to look at all the tactical maps and learn what weapons were getting used and all that shit. I went really ball deep into that. But ultimately, the synopsis is it was the West butting heads with Ruski. Openly. Russia still has troops in there. That war is still going on. It's dressed up in ISIS and fucking Israel and all that kind of shit, but it's still going on. And hundreds of other fucking your terror cults. Don't call them terror cells. They're no cells, they're cults. You get some dumbass, typically fucking Mohammeds, right? Windy licking Mohammeds, and go, hey, Mohammed! Yeah. Mohammed says, I just spoke to God, and God told me to tell you, here's an AK-47, here's a bomb, go and do that. That is ISIS. That is Al-Qaeda, in my humble opinion. That's pretty much all your fucking terror groups, innit? People upstairs getting people downstairs who are fucking daft to do shit for them. Anywho. So, we'll go around as many talking holes as we can for Reuters, BBC's, oh, I love a good map, Sky Newsies, oh, they're all obsessing over Assange. Oh, that would have been a good thing for the poll, or a question. What do you think Assange is? I personally think he's an artistic, useful idiot again. You know, somebody has manipulated that cunt into doing that, and now he's paid the price, big style. Assange to Assange. You got to love your variety of fucking, like, Kellogg's variety packs have more fucking difference than all these so-called news organisations. Strange that, isn't it? It's almost like they're all trying to control the narrative over the same shit. Oh, that guy looks like an Ewok. Because you've got corners of hangman, big pink lips that stick out like an Ewok. Fire near Israeli base. So we'll touch on that as well. We'll even go to the big ears of Germany. Over to NBC, found this new one. Who are showing men kissing, that's beautiful. Israel, that's news. I don't know if you know that, guys kiss. Israeli-Palestine conflict, got to love that. I've lost count of the body count, but I'll get up to speed on the scores on the doors. See the British, the whole British press right now. It's really, really hard to stomach because they're electioneering while pretending it's news. Also, the amount of rules and regulations they're governed by. So you'll get the likes of talk in the bin, as I like to call them now. I just made that up. Talk in the bin. Rupert Murdoch's shithole that he had to pull off a council TV. You get them, and because of the rules that they're governed by in the run up to an election, if they have a Conservative dude on, they have to have a Labour, a Green, etc., because they have to be unbiased, right? So these fucking fake fucking news channels, that's what it is. Anyway, so you get these fake ass news channels rolling out fucking, like, so, I don't know, like GB News, man, they'll get Nigel Vadge on like that. Then they'll give the wee green guy and gear him at tight and stuff. It's so obvious. There's some Fox News, distance remarks on infrastructure. That again, electioneering dressed up as news. ABC Australia, I think that dropped the, and touch base with a wee bit of the Associated Press, but they don't have any live shit, although that shows that I'm a liar. But that's like live streams that have been, it's not, they've just put it in the thumbnail and it's stayed there. Anywho, so a good place to start for your electioneering is the BBC's. Oh, there we go, just missed it. Beep, boop, beep, in the room with the dum.
Live from London, this is BBC News. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange walks free from a US court after pleading guilty.
I feel so sorry for that guy, man.
We firmly believe that Mr. Assange never should have been charged under the Espionage Act and engaged in exercise that journalists engage in every day, and we're thankful that they do.
A final head-to-head debate.
Yes, Camel's face.
Last one before polling day next
Like a
week.
melted Wellington boot.
Politicians are being looked into.
Melted welly boot, a rolling rat. It's not giant douche in tub sandwich.
During widespread protests against
Freedom!
It's another underwhelming performance from England, but they get the job done and go through to the knockout stage of the Euros as group winners.
Yeah, I wanna scream.
Oh, Glastonbury, why they? Well, she must be there. Where did I see her recently? And I was like, still pumped for me.
Hello, very warm welcome to BBC News. I'm Marianne Mashiri. Julian Assange is expected to touch down in Australia in the next couple of hours after being freed by...
Unicorn, the Fabian Society, thanks for reminding me, mate. I've been fucking battering my mind for ages to think of that society, to point it out to people. It still exists, mate. Jeremy Corbyn's a member. It's still very much there. You could argue, buddy, that I know maybe you're talking about the Labour Party was spawned for the Fabian Society. Could argue that. But the Fabian Society's still very much there, buddy. In fact, I'm acting like I've not got a Google. Because it's still very much alive, man. See, there's their website and all that. Our history about us. Independent left-wing think tank. I think that's how they brand themselves, a think tank. But the Fabian Society is very much there. Jeremy Corbyn is still very much a member.
Court on a remote US territory in the Pacific. The WikiLeaks founder pleaded guilty to one charge of breaching the Espionage Act for leaking thousands of classified documents.
That guy was an artistic guy online. I believe that some cunt up above him's like, gave him the stuff that he was charged with. You know that footage that everybody still loves to endlessly play when I think it was a helicopter gunship. They started gunning down all these fucking journalists. And then that brings into, do you remember Bradley Manning, who then went on to become fucking Franny Manning? That's a good one, by the way.
It did. He pleaded guilty, and she
You know, I've
agreed
been
to
trying to
sentence
figure out why that
equal to the time
Windows
he'd
looked
already
weird
served in
for
Britain.
ages.
But his lawyers
It's
still
got a
insist
fucking soul
the
tire flying
prosecution
out
for
it.
breaking an espionage law was unjust.
We firmly believe that Mr. Assange never should have been charged under the Espionage Act and engaged in exercise that journalists engage in every day, and we're thankful that they do. It is appropriate, though, for this fight to end, and it is appropriate for the judge, as she did today, to determine that no additional incarceration of Mr. Assange would be fair, would be appropriate, and it is time for him to be reunited with his family.
His decision to leak thousands of classified documents and videos like this one, showing a US military helicopter killing 2 journalists in Iraq, infuriated the US, which said his actions endangered the lives of its soldiers. Assange sought asylum in the Ecuadorian embassy in London after sexual assault charges were filed against him in Sweden, which were later dropped. And he stayed there 7 years before being thrown out. By then, he was wanted in the US and held in Belmarsh High Security Prison, awaiting extradition. Pressure from activists and from his home country, Australia, a close US ally, finally paved the way for a deal. So, for his family, elation that all their campaigning...
All this shit show of that stuff is coming back to me.
Cartwheels is a good expression of the joy that one feels. That Julian is
So, what do you think Assange was? I think he was an artistic computer geek. Somebody groomed him online. Good use of that word. He got all these documents and like, oh, freedom, man, look, that's freedom. He leaked it all for other people's purposes. And boom, just fucking left them as a patsy, man. Job's a good one.
Divides opinion, as will his legacy. He is still a hero of free speech to some, an unapologetic assailant on national security for others.
Freedom! I don't know how people can't see how free speech and freedom are just used as a complete fucking propaganda.
The flight is now over Australian territory, and it is, from my understanding, my very little understanding of the map of Australia, it's not very far.
Actually tracking Julian Assange plane.
About Australia and its size. Katie Watson is
Turn down the missiles!
It looks to me like
Turn down the missiles!
Until Julian Assange.
Imagine his plane fucking crashed or fell out of the sky. I hope it wasn't a Boeing. That's all I'm saying.
Airport, and his supporters, his family, are getting ready to greet him. His father, his wife, who arrived in Australia. She arrived in Australia just a few days ago. She's come here to Canberra, and along with his father, they will be heading to
Why?
So there's a great deal of excitement among his supporters, among his family.
This is
that he's
cannon
finally
fodder, isn't
returning
it?
to Australian soil.
Absolutely fucking cannon fodder. I was going to turn to Sky News, but this will be much of a muchness. No faking doubt. If it doesn't do this to me, which I strongly suspected.
But after a deal with US prosecutors, he won't.
Right, Spaceballs.
For conspiring and put them espionage now ready
his case is
to get
Is it just me, or if you were to prioritise what you wanted to see in the news?
And, politicians' involvement in that, and to try and establish where the line should be drawn. Now, it may be
more
everybody concludes that it shouldn't happen at all. It may be that it should happen
electioneering
on a certain basis, and so on and so forth. But I think that is a debate longer term that we need to be having.
What? Inside trading? Inside knowledge? Inside betting? I am absolutely shocked. I had no idea.
Odd thought, if not for the
what is this thing?
You look at the world of finance.
Who does such thing? Who would even consider it? I'm sure I read in a book one time that it's illegal or against parliamentary code.
Well, laws that prevent that already. So actually, politics, where clearly people have great influence over the potential outcomes.
Yes, there is laws against that.
There are no
but
laws.
It goes on all the fucking time. That's where the politicians make their dough. They get their heads up on a policy change here, we policy change there. Then they can do inside or trading. But having a wee flutter on the elections is probably the least of the corruption that's going on.
We now have a situation where, Mel Stride is essentially suggesting that he would be quite pro-banning or regulating, more toughly the way that politicians and people
then bring on fucking Scary Spice.
Around tonight.
Sorry, Hen. Because you look pretty doesn't mean that you're any better of a teleprompter reader than any cunt else.
On the next election, it is fighting.
She's a politician, isn't she? See the political class? Look at the political class. Can you see anybody that represents you anywhere near the fucking political class?
I don't know why he did. I don't know why he did that. But Keir Starmer has suspended.
Oh, it's the Starmer. British press is unbearable. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Al Jazeera. Everton Fox. That's such a cool fucking name. You nailed it, Alec. Did. Got it in one.
Gives us no hope for a future. Then we have to find creative solutions, not just
that person's shoes.
Yeah, you know it's news when you hear this sad music in the background.
We are has been done.
It's just like, you know it's a documentary when you see it on Netflix.
WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange is on his way home to Australia.
My lordy lord.
Guilty to violating
Look at the variety of the news. Is the mainstream media turned into Alex Jones? No, what's happened to Alex Jones? Oh, look how good. Look at him, man.
More rallies against a controversial finance bill are planned in Kenya. Police gunfire has killed at least 13 people during.
I'd love to scratch beneath. In fact, I will at some point scratch beneath the surface of that and see who's button heads. All I do know is the royal family fuck off to Kenya quite a lot.
Live in poverty, but the crisis seems to not be a priority for politicians campaigning for next month's elections.
I think they still do. The princes and stuff maybe mixed up, but I'm pretty sure they do.
Well, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange is due to arrive in the Australian capital, Canberra, as a free man. He pleaded guilty to a charge of espionage under a plea deal with the United States, ending a 14-year battle against extradition. This agreement also ends Washington's efforts to prosecute Assange for revealing government secrets about the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Sarah Clark reports from Brisbane.
A defining moment for Julian Assange. After 7 years of self-imposed confinement and another 5 of enforced detention in man. After a 2.5 more than 700.
That footage again.
A rare point of friction in what is normally
Why do the news feel the necessity to show you people getting fucking shot to shreds? I don't get it.
Yeah, that's right, Julian. The element of solidarity, people.
It's like they're competing with each other to see who can get as many dead bodies into their news stories as the other news organisation who's typically ran for profit, but more propaganda. But they need to kind of pretend they're trying to turn a profit. Oh my lordy lord.
Clamp down on protests.
Thank fuck for that, man.
President William Ruto is pledging to clamp down on protests against a controversial finance bill at whatever cost. He's described the storming of Parliament in the capital, Nairobi, on Tuesday as treasonous. And the Kenya Medical Association says at least 13 people were killed during demonstrations on Tuesday after MPs passed a bill approving tax increases. The military was also deployed after hundreds
Is
of
that just
protesters
like a
attempted
horde
to
of
board into the
fucking
Parliament compound
crackpots,
and
man?
fire to part of the building. The US and the African Union
It's like
have
Tommy
urged
Robinson's
restraint and
mod.
dialogue between all parties. Demonstrators
With
say there
blackface.
is still time to stop the president from signing the bill into law. Well, let's speak to Zain Bazravi. He joins me now from the Kenyan capital. Zain, I can see a relatively substantial security presence there behind you.
Every day's a school day.
On edge. Talk us through how people are processing what's happened.
Well, what we've learned overnight that the death toll has risen. At least 13 people were killed in the events of yesterday. Overnight, people have been taking stock of exactly what played out. We know that families have been seeking out injured in the hospital and trying to identify the bodies of the dead in mortuaries following the protests as night fell, as organizers told people that they should head home and not protest in the dark. Many of the youth that came here to central Nairobi live in the suburbs around Nairobi, densely populated areas. As they were heading back, we're hearing reports that police carried out operations to harass, detain, and go after those young people that were heading back to their homes. We also have unconfirmed reports that there were deaths overnight, and the death toll from these protests is expected to go up in coming days. Now, in terms of what's happening here in central Nairobi, we're just near Parliament. The security presence, once again, very, very heavy. Cleanup crews are working to try to clear up the debris from the clashes that took place.
Queen's dad died there.
Police and the protesters. There is
I'll scratch beneath the circuits.
Very tense.
Like that, a wee bit more.
Of Ruto for this heavy
because it's very interesting. All I do know is Britain's got interests there. To this day, the royal family still go there, the princes and stuff.
We were just in front of the Parliament building. We were told it's a crime
And as you just read there, it's part of the Commonwealth, so the head of state is the royal family. Or the king, sorry.
His reaction to these protests, the deaths of Kenyan people, the detentions, the illegal detentions of Kenyan people show that it is in fact he who has lost any sort of legitimate mandate to govern. Criticism has been pouring in. The Kenyan Law Society, the Law Society of Kenyan organization with a long history of resisting government overreach in this country, has slammed Ruto, saying that he has been, quote, sitting pretty as protesters were being shot and killed. Have also criticized the clergy, international organizations, professional organizations for simply standing by and not raising their voice while the youth are the ones that took to the streets.
Right, so they're kicking out the West. This is against Western entities that have got. They're talking about the clergy and all that, you know. I get it now. Somebody stirred up the youth, probably using Kenya Facebag or YouTube to revolt against the institutions, which seem to be part of the Commonwealth. Used to be a British colony then, British part of the British Empire. So the British Empire would have walked over and went, okay, we're no longer in charge. But here have all our institutions which we fucking own.
To continue not just forward
And be
with
part of the
this bill,
Commonwealth.
but to
So your
continue
head of state's still the
strong
king.
tactics in defense of, as he said,
Right.
the democratic rule of the country.
So,
His critics say that he's doing
let's,
exactly the
in
opposite
comparison,
of what
now, granted the UK does have election coming up, right? But let's see how long it takes the BBC to get onto that, if they do. That was second in the news cycle in Al Jazeera.
Preparing to go Labour.
Right, and then so get electioneering, get that. That's more important over here,
Which is
apparently.
what we calculate and Wales. But
Cough.
those caveats, let's
Scottish.
dive in. And let's
Fuck
start
off to
with
BBC Scotland, Ginger. Go back to your home. Go back to your own country. Are you bored yet? There's chewing gum teeth.
For them to try think or very strange. Back then in April.
There's more on that story on the website.
Clearly a difference between the
Leaders face off.
Live and follow the Liberal Democrats and see what.
Oh, fuck off. So even the BBC need to do it. Some would argue the BBC might try and
John, I don't know, does it not seem a bit unfair?
I can see how that's a wee bit more important.
Which of the teams they will face.
I can't stomach the English press and fans. We've got such a good team that are doing well and fucking still find things to go, but how long it was about a year ago, I'll find out the date. I put money on Pochettino to be the next English manager. I thought he'd be in before the Euros, to be honest, because there was talk of that, but fucking boring Southgate getting. Right, let's see if Sky News touch on it.
Are through to the knockout stages of.
Oh no. This is what I love about the variety of news, you know? It's unbelievable. So many different flavours in the same fucking jobby.
Journalists as well. He had being these people images in and he was concerned about it. So he best way.
This is headache.
Up to 20 years in prison.
Who's bullshit? Oh no, hold on, this is interesting.
At Wall Street journalist.
Time for all of those other top stories, Natalie.
Thank you very much, Wilfred. At Wall Street Journal.
Right, so Kenya, so Al Jazeera has put Kenya top of the ahead in their news cycle than the BBC, which is Comcast, predominantly Yankee, a Yankee doodle dandy Jewish dude.
Journalist
I do believe
is appearing in a Russian court on espionage charges today.
No. How this is ridiculous. I mean, now remember, I come from a country. Our national our national animal is a unicorn, which are real, and you need to believe that. If you don't think a journalist, a Wall Street journalist working out of Russia couldn't be gathering and relaying information back to the States, that's beyond belief. Could never happen. Man, unicorns, fairies, and fucking rainbows. 12 of them at one time. I mean, and leprechauns. That's what I'm all about. And to suggest to me that a journalist would ever, any journalist anywhere, would ever be clandestinely in some way working as just gathering intelligence and sending it back by email. It's not really that hard. Anywho, let's get on with it. Now, I mean, to say this with a straight face is laughable. Come on.
Journalists and cameras were allowed in court this morning ahead of today's proceedings. Of course, he's accused.
You've got to love the way the Ruskies do it. You know, they stick them in a locked fucking cage and let everybody in to gawk at them. Typically they're like that, all beat up with ears missing and all that. Did you not see the guy they got for bombing, was it a concert or something up in Moscow? quite recent, the last couple of months. They blamed it on fucking Ukraine somehow, but it was his brown cunt sitting in a cage like that, sitting in a chair with his fucking half his ear missing. Fucking hilarious. So that's how the Russians get fucking information out of you. And then not only do they sew your ear back on and say that you tripped in the shower, nah, they put you in a box like that and let all the press come in and go, yes, we have ways of making you talk.
Accused of working for the CIA by Russia and could face up to 20 years in prison if convicted. Ivor Bennett has the very latest from us. He's live outside the courtroom. So proceed.
Right. Just one question before we listen to this tripe, right? Now, what's the fucking, I want to be fancy and use the Latin, but is it pro bono? No, it's not pro bono. Anyway, there's some fancy fucking Latin that says, who benefits? Who benefits? I'm pretty sure fucking Mr. Igor was sitting there over in Russia, woke up one morning and went, okay, what's on my agenda today? Okay, drunk a gallon of vodka and he went, right, I'm going to go and falsely accuse our United States fucking journalists of gathering intelligence, and then we're going to fucking charge them and we're going to parade them to the world. But it's all going to be false. Because I just wanted to make it up. One day I woke up and went, do you know what's going to be really good for Russia? Do you know what's going to do Russia some real good PR? Is falsely arresting an American journalist and locking him up for 20 years. Well, good thinking, smart thinking, Igor. Let's get on it. Yes, let me finish my other gallon of vodka. Oh my God. Do you know, I don't feel sorry, but the reality is, there's still some, obviously the older generation that get their news from the TV, and they're no sceptical as the people that have been grown up tuned to the moon on the interwebs. I didn't even grow up tuned to the moon on the interwebs, it was injected into me at a later stage, but you know what I mean? The people that aren't sceptical about news channels. They think news channels are news channels.
Proceedings this morning behind closed doors. Ivor, why is this?
Yes. Oh, I am shock and horror. A trial behind closed doors. Hello, McFly. Hello, McFly. Welcome to the fucking UK, right? And in many different ways. For many different reasons. A variety of fucking closed doors, behind the fucking doors, trials. But anyway, let's make Igor sound bad for doing that.
Yeah, hi Leah. So, the trial is underway, as you say, behind closed doors. We were briefly allowed in before it all began.
As you say, behind closed doors.
To film Evan Gershkovich standing in the dock, but then after about 5 minutes, we were all turfed out.
I bet you that guy's good at eating a carrot.
It's being held in secret because that is often the case when it concerns trials of national security. But that hasn't stopped the Wall Street Journal, Evan Gershkovich's employer, and the US from calling this a sham trial. So Gershkovich was on a reporting trip in this city of Yekaterinburg in central Russia, 900 miles east of Moscow, when he was arrested in March last year. And he's been in prison ever since, 15 months now. I have to say he did look visibly thinner than he did in court appearances this time last year. He's accused of spying for the CIA, charges which he, his employer and his government all deny. Russia, though, says he was caught red-handed. They've never provided any evidence to back up that claim. They may do so now in this trial, of course, but we won't get to see that. All they've said until now is that he was allegedly gathering secrets about a tank factory a couple of hours from here. It's called Ural Vagon Zavod. It's one of the world's biggest producers of battle tanks. The White House...
I mean, why would the United States want information or to spy on that? That is, remember unicorns, fucking leprechauns, chemtrails and fluoride, right? And the United States why would the United States want to use a Wall Street journalist through the CIA to spy on, did he say the world's biggest producing factory that produces battle tanks? I have no idea. This is a scam trial made up by a drunk Igor. For what reasons, I don't know. Maybe he just didn't like the cut of that guy's jib, so he decided to just arrest him for no reason one day, and then come out and say, yeah, we did catch him red-handed, but we haven't seen that evidence. Well, mate, you wouldn't see if you're sitting here in the fucking UK, you wouldn't fucking get privy to the evidence, you dick, before the fucking trial. Fucking moron.
House has designated
I'm sorry, I'm taking it out on him. Saying what his employers are telling him.
But I have to say, a couple of officials from
Slavin, how you doing?
who were hoping to gain access to the trial, they weren't allowed access either. But Vladimir Putin has said in the last week or so that the Kremlin is in touch with Washington about a possible prisoner exchange involving Gershkovich, but he said these negotiations must remain private, away from the media, much like this trial, of course. This is just the start. We don't know how long it will go on for, and if convicted, he could face up to 20 years in prison.
So it's going to be a prisoner exchange. They're going to convict him and then exchange him for an Igor that America have locked up. Makes sense.
Okay, Ivor, great stuff. Thank you so much.
Now remember this, if he isn't a CIA agent spying for the CIA, why the fuck would they do or want a prisoner swap? Or even fucking, like, you've just locked up a random journalist.
So much.
Oh, it's laughable.
A security guard accused of plotting to kidnap, rape and murder television presenter Holly Willoughby.
Why the fuck are they obsessing about that shit? Does Palestine still exist? I want to get the scores on the doors.
General Secretary, this was expected, but the formality has now gone through. Mark Rutte, of course, the former
Kenya,
of the Netherlands,
Palestine,
now the
Ukraine. I need to get up to speed on this shit. Sky News. Where's the news?
Takes place. Let's
North, East,
on
West and South.
From our
News, motherfucker.
Greg Milam has spent a week travelling on night buses, speaking to shift workers and passengers in the small hours of the morning. This is his report from the Bolton interchange.
Oh, ground fucking breaking. Is it, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just like that. Here, Britain, Little Britain. The rest of the world doesn't exist right now. My God,
we'll speak to an expert.
Are you shitting me? Right, that's by the half hour, so is that their whole news cycle? No, but there's only some skinning, dying fucking Afrikaner to fucking sell you how great their fucking Sky News International. Where the fuck is the international shit? Are you having a giraffe?
New offensive against criminals obliterating the rainforest. Let's bring in from South.
The trees. There's a war on fucking. You're fucking. Right, you don't timestamp back, didn't you know? Should be able to DVR it. My lord, if you're talking about dumbed down fucking news, that's it. That's their half hour done. That is crazy, by the way, to think about. How dumbed down is that shit? The BBC won't be much better, but let's do it anyway. Talking about football, you know, fucking where? They timestamp this shit. Assange. Aye, they've done their half hour thing as well. No Kenya, football, fucking election shit. That is un-fucking believable, man. Right, so let's see if I can get this shitty rumble to work. Right, so I can go back 40 minutes. That means I would go here and go to 40 minutes. But then look what fucking happens to... Oh, might have cracked it.
Ego, impulse, and a thirst for unabridged power have always been and continue to be a threat to free speech, democracy, and a free press. Learned and repeated.
Maybe not. Oh, hold on. I'm hoping this is just before the top of the hour news bull crap. Maybe. Look how good we are. Is this it here?
To remain in the embassy to protect himself from US extradition. Julian's position.
Being one we have to do the Australian.
And see a good way of maybe this is how I kind of came to my conclusion about Assange and deciphered it. Again, doing this many years ago, watching RT, the BBC, etc., comparing notes. Then you're like, right, hold on, RT's sucking his Bobby, and the BBC and Western press, hold on, what's this?
That's a relationship of deputy sheriff.
This isn't news, man.
Where do you see the Syrian which are encouraging
Syria
killing in Syria?
Their DVR is absolutely pish. Plus they probably, oh, hold on.
They are elected representatives and the institutions established under our
Okay, so RT and Al Jazeera both touching base with what's happening in Kenya. Now remember, look,
and separate criminals from
there's
people
pretty much
exercising the freedom of expression.
What's the best way to say this?
Divergent opinion.
Anywhere in Africa that's got resources and shit is up for grabs right now.
Abandoned the planned tax hikes, which they argue will choke the economy and raise the cost of living for Kenyans who are already struggling to make ends meet. This is not the first time this has happened.
The cost of living
Kenya,
crisis is happening in Kenya too.
It's not the first time that a bill has met with such resistance from many citizens in Kenya. Last year, it was the same story.
What happened there?
Hi, dear.
Okay, I think we've lost her.
You've lost her. Last connection.
Move on now. Thanks though.
Oh, let me moody bitch.
Earlier, my colleague Saskia Taylor discussed the issue with a national executive member of the Mozambican ruling party. He said the policies of Western institutions like the IMF are not helping countries in Africa.
Rich countries, big countries always win because they are the ones who control these international institutions.
And where's all this information coming from?
Specific situation of Kenya.
Russia.
I would say actually in most of the African
Who are we at war with right now? The West?
We have
Russia. This is part of it. Agree, disagree. It might be what's happening, but this is the just pointing out all your enemies' shite to the citizens of your enemy, trying to win the hearts and mind of your enemy. The West has done it for fucking decades now, pumping all. That's why China tried to kick out, or did kick out successfully, Twitter and Facebook. And a few years ago, the Western press will look at the censorship, look at the censorship. Now we're kicking out TikTok and shit.
for them to accept. And this
that was China's retaliatory response to the West, pumping all their shits and seeds full of their information through the social medias and the interwebs.
Empire collapse, leave the African continent. We saw Belgium, we saw France increasingly unwelcome on the African continent. How would you assess the influence nowadays in 2024
with Russia and China?
Western countries, not just obviously on Mozambique, but also the continent as a whole?
It's still very, very big. The influence is still very big because we, in specifically Mozambique, we achieved our independence.
IMF promises to support country, but comes from loans, increases by debt.
Striving and fighting.
Well, that's a scam.
And because
scam, man.
We still have very big influence from
Mohammed.
All these ex-colonies.
And they fund both sides of the Mohammeds, and then they go to war. It's called the Civil War, but it's funded by the IMF, or loans from the IMF. The winner prevails and has to pay the IMF their loans back, and does that by selling all their minerals and all the shit that
and it
splits
increases
our
the debt
resource
that the country has
to Western backed countries.
community.
That's neo-colonialism. So you don't need your soldiers or troops. You turn Muhammad on Muhammad by the way of loans.
This footage shows
The winner prevails, or kinda, but to repay those loans and get more fucking guns, bombs and whatnot to fight the civil war, so-called civil war, which is funded by that the IMF funds both sides. They need to keep the resources getting taken out by Western countries at a profit. So you don't need your soldiers in there. You say you don't rule the country, but you do. And that's the economic model.
For both sides. Our
It's
team
no
Igor
secret.
Stanov visited the UAV squad with Russia's Akhmat Special Forces Unit and filed this report.
Oh, this
In
was this in
Volchansk,
Ukraine.
Ukraine is on a desperate quest for revenge. Kiev has amassed thousands of troops in a bid to kick the enemy back. We are embedded with a Russian unit of drone pilots on a mission to deny Ukraine the opportunity to strike.
Было обнаружено передвижение противника.
The enemy's movements were detected, and they had several attempts to storm the private sector to get behind our allies. We detected everything and fired at it, in some places with FPV drones.
Once the rival force is spotted, it is pursued relentlessly, either until they surrender or meet the bitter end.
This is news, y'all, not fucking war propaganda.
Где-то сбросами отработали. И вот так вот.
We bombed them in some places. It's not just that you bomb once and they retreat. They hide in holes and basements.
The commander of this
Double
Hamas
tap.
Special Forces unit, known by the call sign that translates as barbarian, says their main goal is to paralyze any movement of Ukrainian troops in the town. If they can't maneuver, can't carry out troop
like
rotation
kamikaze
and
drone.
evacuate their wounded, Kiev forces have no other option.
Fascinating watching that stuff though, isn't
Ну,
it?
отрабатываем.
We operate pretty fast. Our pilots are close to the enemy. Some days later, the enemy left the positions they tried to take.
A kamikaze drone, by its very definition, is an expendable item. You need many, many thousands of them. And what the special forces of Akhmat have established here, it's a full-cycle manufacture.
Происходит подготовка снарядов.
There's a projectile
Making
preparation
it on site, fuck's sake.
Here are the dropping
Well, it would have
systems.
been a factory
Fuses, high
spewing
explosive
them.
projectiles, fragmentation projectiles. Here we have thermobaric
Cluster
munitions for special purposes.
grenades.
Термобар. Они уже.
What the weight?
3,5 килограмма.
3.5 kilograms.
And here you have sub-munitions, right?
I'm surprised they've no fucking let the soldiers write on them. Fucking coming for you, Ukrainian pricks, no.
Very effective.
That is fascinating though.
The sky over Volchansk is never blind, always vigilant.
And as fascinating as this, bear in mind this is war propaganda. War
Here's the
porn.
live situation in the town. The enemy doesn't operate actively
freezing
during the
today,
day
man.
because it's dangerous, not only for health, but for life.
We're in the middle of a heat wave in
With Russian
fucking
and
Baltic and
Ukrainian
Glasgow.
UAVs, drone dogfights have become a common sight.
Oh wow. How
We
cool
have
is that?
videos.
Drone
We shot down
dog
the
fights.
enemy's Mavic drone with ours. Ours survived. We put it above theirs.
Ukrainian commanders are
Even
holding
mimic
back
my
no
laugh.
resources,
I'll
trying
mimic
to
his laugh.
outnumber the Russians by an order of magnitude. But where one might see a problem, Varvar and his men see an opportunity.
Пусть еще больше подтягивают.
He's
Let them bring
fucking
more. The
masking the
more we
whole
have, the more
shebang.
drones we hit.
Wow,
It should be
we.
this way. Not like, oh, there are so many of them, I will not go there. No.
All right,
the
I
other way
get
around.
you, Slavin. Thanks for that, man. The drones are made in bulk, and that's them putting different explosives on them, right? That makes sense. Different explosives for different jobs.
Forces. I'm Agashdanov reporting from the Russian-Ukraine border, RT.
Did they sew the guy's earbud code?
RT and
No, mate, I was
launching
kinda
a joint
joking, but
project, Starbound. It's a direct line to the International Space Station and allows people from BRICS countries who are passionate about space to communicate live
BRICS.
with Russian cosmonauts. RT will moderate the program from its Moscow studio with 5 episodes planned, each
Do you know-
dedicated to one.
Do you know what this shit is reminding me of, right? See, in the like 90s and early 2000s, I used to like sort of a Command and Conquer games and shit, right? And it was revolutionary at the time. They would have wee video clips that would suck you into the world. They would have wee characters doing things and all that jazz, right? And they would have different sides. And when I hear this sort of it's the BRICS versus NATO in it, it's pretty much what it is. And it's like a computer game. And like watching this kind of stuff, Starbound, the BRICS are the best, and look how good our drones are. It's like the comical propaganda that they used to slot into computer games to increase their to make them more realistic. Back in the 90s and early 2000s and whatnot. And now in 2024, it's there. it's the strangest thing, man.
Countries. The
Maybe I'm weird
space
thinking that, but I
projects,
do.
Prospects for space development, and exclusive footage from the ISS, along with
Rocks for the dark side of the moon.
Enthusiasts in the block countries. You can watch the first episode right here on RT on Thursday.
Mr. Tesco sending rockets up. Yes, I always love news that has music. It's always the best news. If you can't dance to the news, then the news people aren't doing it fucking right. That's all I'm saying. You can't get down and boogie to the news. It just ain't cricket. Ooh, yeah, man, you could really pump out a good fucking... What the fuck is this? Oh, look, I've even got the Spice Girls and everything. Is that Candy or something? That Candy. I'm watching too much fucking American pish. Starbound. Oh, that was brilliant. Oh, please tell me.
Well, do stay with RT International. Up next, continuing our documentary series, The Trust Fall, about Julian Assange and the WikiLeaks controversy. Bye-bye.
Oh, well, of course, they'll be all over Assange. Press TV. Well, I can't really get a full... I need to go to RT first, because that Rumble DVR player is just complete pish. Same with the... Well, same rules apply, because you can only get those entities on Pishy Rumble. Now, in theory, if their fucking thing worked, I would go back about 53 minutes and you would get the top of our news. But that's only in theory, because I do not know what Rumble will do. But boom, it just hits you off into fucking no man's land, and you're like, you don't know where you are. If you get me. That makes sense. Hold on, let's see. Is this news? It's not got music. No, right, let's see. It's no the top of the news cycle. This is them just dripping dead bodies fucking in front of you for the fucking...
has achieved. This is especially notable.
Do you know what I'll do? I'll go away for 6 minutes. Oh, look at this. Nothing says news to me like that. Look at RT. Oh man, I missed the scraps. Fucking dafts, fucking Slavs. I mean, I've never heard of the fucking Slavs getting fucking pissed and having a punch up before, man. That's never happened. That's like unicorn talk. I mean, the animal, no you in the chat, buddy. Just get the unicorns in my head because I was talking about them earlier on. Oh, not again. This is news. It's got music. dramatic fucking music. What I'm going to do is fuck off for a few minutes and come back to RT Live and hopefully get the... Oh, hold on, that looks like news. Somebody gets shot in the ass.
А в посадке, ты говоришь, кого искали?
Мы искали там одного товарища, ну...
There's comrade. Yes. News, BBC, licensed players thing on BBC News. Surely this has got to be the entertainment? I don't know. Maybe it's just, they just give the people what they want. Look, what fucking sexy ass woman riding horses.
Base it on British politics over the past 10 years. That is a roller coaster in and of itself. That would be brilliant.
And you can place a bet on who's going to win the ride.
There you go.
Fright ride.
Anyway, we're reminded that Universal is a sister company, so I don't know if there'll be a Sky. Maybe there'll be a Premier League Sky Sports thing.
Granted, at this time you don't get anything but tripe.
Sky News one, as much as we live for it.
We can make it work.
Don't know if it will get millions of people to come. We are out of time here on The Breakfast Show. Gareth's up next with Sky News Today.
See, it goes for the British shit to the international, because I can understand. Oh, there we go, news. It's news music. That's the name of a song, innit? News music. I'm saying it should be a name of a song. This isn't just music. I'm going to play you a little news music. You know it's news. When you hear news music. Music getting played over dead bodies and skinny dying hookers and crack whores and shit like that. This is just news, man. In fact, news music plays your hearts. What happens when you get play your heartstrings? News music comes out. This ain't just new. It's like elevator music has its own genre. So news music definitely does. I suspect. Right, so here we go. Look, that's definitely going to have music on it, innit? No, just war sounds. It's even better. See, nearly. Like, so that's even better news. Now, is this news or war porn? Because you might think that Russia was at war with the English-speaking world, thus English-speaking Russian program pumping out war porn and how big their balls are. Crazy that? No, but this is news. Remember? I remember back in the day when I thought RT was fucking news. Before I fucking woke up for fucking waking up. Anyway, right, watch RT for the top of the hour. Al Jazeera's on the YouTubes, so we can fucking pause that and fast forward. That's all good. BBC and Sky News are useless right now, man. Assange, an election. That's all you're getting. Nothing about Kenya. Nothing about Ukraine. Where else am I thinking that should be? Gaza? Oh, Press TV. Right, can you pause this shite and get back to it?
Volga flows into the Caspian Sea, forming the
That's
largest
what I'll try
estuary
and
in
do
continental Europe, which means it's a great place to learn about fish.
But the Iranian elections are going on, went on. One of the three. So I think, again, nothing like news music. There's some news music. This isn't music. It's news music.
How's it feel to be a free man, Mr. Assange?
What? Me, man? Assange? RT will be gobbling the Assange shit up.
Breaking news. Whistleblower Julian Assange leaves a U.S. court on the Pacific island of Saipan, a free man after a judge accepts the plea.
Breaking news. The BBC were showing you his fucking plane hitting Australia. Fuck's sake, our TVs are fucking get fucking back in the game.
Is the United States pursuing journalism as a crime? I hope this is the first and last time.
He's a Polak.
Celebrations erupt outside the U.S. consulate in Sydney, with people praising Julian Assange's freedom and await his return home, while Canberra decries the court's verdict.
A precedent was set for the charging and conviction of a journalist for doing their job. It's the sort of thing we'd expect in an authoritarian or totalitarian country. It is not what we would expect from the United States or a similar country like Australia.
Yes! Mate, you're gonna get mugged for your fucking suit, man. Me over here and get
chaos in
yes.
Protesters stormed the parliament and set key government buildings.
Oh man,
that's as anger
coffee's cold, but I'll play the dead body and baby drinking game. Fucking hell, man.
If they pass this finance bill, there will be demonstrations every day until the government gives us accountability of...
Afternoon! Tommy Robinson's winded like an army. Alright, Roberto, my man, how you doing?
Live in Moscow, you're watching RT International. We start with breaking news that we've been covering all day here on RT. A judge has sentenced WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange to time served. That's after he pleaded guilty to a single charge of conspiracy in a deal.
People that are just joined and stuff, right? There's obviously, I say obviously, the poll up one of these places about. And again, other suggestions are welcome in the chat. I only had 4 options. Otherwise, I would put 9/11. I would have put 9/11 in there, you know. And feel free to make other suggestions, etc., etc. I mean, there's a timeline there, you know. I would point back to the days of I would point to 9/11, Project for a New American Century, the advent of the internet. The conspiracy thing that's completely changed the political landscape, moved it more to in the whole of the Western world, more to the right. And when you're more on the right, you're more on the war footing, more accepting of war. And then boom shakalaka. If I was to answer, I would say Syria, because that was the first time in my eyes that I seen openly Russia and the West going at it. They still are in that area of the world. That war has not ended, believe it or not. Assange, what do you think Assange is? Suggestions again. You tell me what you think he. You tell me what you think he is. Is he a freedom fighter? Is he a spy? Is he a spook? I think he's a useful idiot that got groomed on the internet, given a lot of information, stupidly put it out, and had to pay the consequences. Or sorry, did pay the consequences. I mean, I feel sorry for the dude, man. So much of his life has been fucked up because I believe he was groomed on the interwebs. Because if you go and check him out, man, that's what he was all about, wasn't he? The last borderline autistic cunt that fucking loved to do shit online. That's what it was. And then you can go and look at the selective information that he was given and say that it was serving a purpose. But it was all true. Aye, propaganda and shit that gets put out there doesn't have to be fucking lies to steer people's opinion. You know, it's like, I've got evidence of my enemy being a cunt, but he's got no evidence of me being a cunt. Boom, put that out. Do you know what I mean? Serves a purpose. And this me ginger American guy.
A criminal charge violating the U.S. espionage.
I told him.
This is what was said in the.
This is what is said. This is how Americans speak on television. Maybe it's the Jim White of America. So I think Assange was a useful idiot. That's what I genuinely believe. And people that have just rolled out their bed and are joining, stick a wee thumbs up. Welcome to your Daily PoliTITS. If you like politics but are sick of the tits, tune into your Daily PoliTITS. I'll be doing it on a daily basis from here to the election, say for obvious reasons. But it's It's not healthy for anybody, I believe, including myself, obviously, because to subject yourself to this shit on a constant basis. I tried to tune in on Sunday night. Oh look, see, even RT's got their updated.
On the part of U.S. leaders who constantly lecture the world about
US
freedom of the
leaders.
press, the protection of journalists, freedom of speech, etc.
Freedom of speech. Is that Tommy Robinson? That's when you know it's bullshit, man. So Assange and the information he put out served a purpose. Was he just a wee computer geek that wanted to get to the truth? Or was some cunt feeding him that information? You make up your mind. So I'll be doing the Daily PoliTITS every day from here to the election. I say for obvious reasons, but it's like pulling teeth trying to watch the news right now. If it's not dead babies and bodies, it's election shit, especially in the British press. And it's kind of hard to stomach, and it's not healthy for me or anybody, I believe, to subject yourself to that on a daily basis. Because you can start getting into the drama of it all, you know, and like, and obsessing over it and shit, like wanting to tune into the news fucking every day instead of, like, I don't know, go out, go to the gym, watch some Netflix. Or dare I say it, man, the devil's work, watch some television. Although I'll be honest, man, the only TV shit I watch now is Coronation Street, really, and the football. And even then I watch it through the streams because it's a lot easier to manage. Anyway, something else going on here in the world?
Plane on the tarmac behind me, we understand.
Oh my god, I've actually got... Wow! Right, let's see what... see if this is just going to be wall-to-wall Iranian elections, I believe. That should. Press TV need to get some better production. It's really noticeably poor, man. I mean, RP's got a tight ship. Typically. Oh, there's the foil. Like, that counts as a dead baby, man. Fuck me, man. Oh. Fuck you, Press TV with a fucking art right on the asshole. You fucking whip your fucking ninja hood off and fucking asshole. Whoever made that fucking stupid decision, fucking. Here's a fucking hell, man. It's like turning on Twitter. Fucking can't he turn on Twitter now without like barrage of fucking. Oh God, man.
Hello and welcome everybody. It's 12:30 here in the Iranian capital.
And then you get fucking an Ewok rocking up.
Top story for this half hour. Nearly 9 months into the Israeli genocidal war against Gaza, the regime keeps pummeling.
Right, okay, at least they're touching on Gaza.
Territory, killing more
right,
civilians. In northern
what
Gaza,
the fuck
50
is this
people
shit?
were killed and several others injured when Israeli warplanes targeted a residential building in Beit Lahia.
That isn't healthy for anybody, and that's the way you can get when you obsess over the fucking news, man. And look what's on the news today. Can he move from seeing the dead bodies? If you tried to put that shit on a television programme before the watersheds, they wouldn't even be able to do it. Although that doesn't exist anymore because you've just got Netflix and fucking hard cocks are now allowed on Netflix. Twitter's allowed porn. Welcome to 2024, baby. Anyway, let's get back to the. Let's see if there's any more.
Joined us earlier from the central Gaza city of Deir al-Balah to give us an update on the latest Israeli
Amin far.
Palestinian territory.
The Mandela effect will now change the Assange effect.
To destroy more Palestinian residential buildings.
Spec videos of how 7 years totally changed his looks.
Over the last night in Beit Lahia city after the Israeli fighter jets destroyed a residential building there over the heads of the Palestinian children.
In a state of fear, the human mind is more open to the power of suggestion. I think Assange is a whistleblower who has been made example of. No, like, Roberto, I believe he thought he was doing the right thing, but I think he was fed that information. I don't think he just woke up one day playing his computer games and getting into his computers and shit, and then came privy to a particular slice of restricted information or private information that allowed him to change the course of politics worldwide. I really don't believe it. I think he believed he was doing a freedom fighter and WikiLeaks was doing the good shit. And because who couldn't you look at? I remember seeing that helicopter footage way back in the day when it was first out, because it was the advent of the internet, and lots of people seen that, and it's so powerful, man. Seeing that, you're just like, oh my god, how can it? Oh my, look, because you didn't. I was naive to what war was at that point, you know, and the fact that the other side has a dog in the fight is to release that footage. Whereas they're doing the exact same shit.
Israel's High Court has ruled that the
Oh,
military must begin
got to love an Orthodox Jew.
men for compulsory service, a decision that could lead to the collapse of the ruling coalition. The court also ordered the cabinet to withdraw funding from any religious school whose students do not comply with draft notices. Some 66,000 ultra-Orthodox men are now eligible for a draft, while the military said
they don't believe. A lot of them don't believe in the state of Israel.
The historic ruling put
You think the state of Israel is against the religion? Hey, ho, whoa, 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 whoa! If you can't do the bouncy, you're a Jew. If you
amid the Israeli genocidal war in Gaza, which has cost the lives of hundreds of IOF soldiers. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu now faces losing support of politically powerful ultra-Orthodox parties in his ruling coalition.
It's politics for you, innit? Now that's what you call a comb over.
A large fire breaks out near an Israeli military base in the occupied West Bank. The fire erupted
It hurts my ears to listen to this in headphones, and I don't know how many people are actually listening to this in headphones, but see the feedback you get for their audio, it's like they've never heard of a filter or anything, man. It's just an open mic, so you're
investigating a suspected arson.
And like a pure white noise. Hear it?
Our correspondent Mona Kandil joined us earlier from the
give you an example, right?
With more details on the incident.
Listen to the white noise and that shit.
Well, we can say that.
Now, I've got a filter on, right? So when I stop speaking, or when I'm speaking, you shouldn't hear in the background. And they guys can't do what I can do in OBS. And with the help of a YouTube video.
Destruction near the Hebrew University, as well as near a hospital and the Israeli military base of Ofrit, eastern Al-Quds, up till the early hours of Wednesday.
Israeli media blame Palestinians for this.
Teams continued to end this Israeli.
I wonder why.
Police claim that they are suspecting that Palestinians marched through.
Again, listen to their shitty audio.
From the nearby Palestinian village.
You can hear birds in the background and everything.
That is between Al-Quds and in the occupied West Bank, because the fire was very large, according to the Israeli.
Genuinely might email them at one point. Go here. This is the guy that was on your show, on your news station at Bilderberg. I could sort out your audio.
Media and the Israeli TV channels.
That's right. I was on Press TV at Bilderberg, Watford, 2012, I think it was.
However, according to channel,
it's on my channel somewhere. Skin Press TV. I'll see me getting interviewed. Bilderberg. Oh, those were the days.
That it could be caused by an arson by Palestinians throwing Molotov cocktails at the nearby Israeli.
Oh, hold on, that looks pretty cool. Oh, that's these.
Iraq says it has conducted a fresh retaliatory strike on an Israeli military position.
Of course, it's not an aggressive strike. We're hitting them back. I love the way they know where they're going to hit and they get the cameras on it and all
umbrella
that.
group said it launched a drone attack on a vital Israeli target in the occupied port city of al-Rash, also known as Eilat. The Iraqi group says
But remember, we're not war people.
to Israel's genocide
No. Eat your McDonald's, go to football games, keep the economy ticking over. If the economy doesn't tick over, how are we going to make all the love bombs and bullets to conduct our non-war war?
In retaliation for Washington's full support for the Israeli onslaught on Gaza.
How are we going to keep funneling billions of pounds to Ukraine to not fight Russia?
The Netherlands have once again held a rally to condemn the university authorities' crackdown on pro-Palestinian protesters.
See, that audio's better than their studio audio. It'd probably be better fucking broadcasting it off a iPhone, because iPhone has a certain amount of noise cancellation shit in it.
We've been occupying buildings, but each time we try something, the university keeps calling the police on us, and the police immediately the same night or the same day evicts us, and it does so very brutally and very violently. People have been pepper sprayed, beaten with police truncheons.
Utrecht.
The protesters waved Palestinian flags and held different placards while chanting slogans condemning the ongoing genocide in Gaza. Demonstrators want their university to cut ties.
Look at the amount of bikes, people on bikes.
Over the regime's onslaught on Gaza. Students also accused
it's a stereotype
of violently arresting them and
stereotype of the old lowlands, isn't it?
Solidarity with Palestinians
Look how
started
beautiful those big windies are, man.
But has since spread to other universities across the world. The global campaign calls for the boycott of Israeli institutions and an end to the Gaza genocide, as well as the Israeli occupation of Palestine.
Somebody with a mask
Koreans
on
held a
and
massive rally in the capital Pyongyang to commemorate the 74th anniversary of the Korean War.
So, 14 votes in, and Iraq is in the lead with the 4 options. Remember, other options can be put in the comments box.
Towards the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and military provocations violating the dignity and interests of our country. But they are mistaken.
That's the
We will
North,
smash the enemies with the might of self-reliant military capabilities and a single-minded unity.
That's China, basically. They couldn't exist or feed their population.
The rally was held to mark what the Democratic People's Republic of Korea calls the Day of Struggle against the U.S. imperialism. The commemorative event comes as tensions are running high on the Korean Peninsula. The U.S., South Korea, and Japan are planning to
definitely more chins there than a fat man.
Exercises in the region. Pyongyang says these war games are rehearsals to invade the DPRK. It has already test-fired numerous missiles this year in response to
right. Okay, so that's North Korea, as I would understand it.
Its regional allies.
And then they've left the mic open in the studio. Oh my god. Hello, Ewok.
News review, where we look deeper into some of the top stories of the day on this segment of the program. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange.
No wonder he's looking where his microphone is.
14-year legal battle over exposing U.S. war crimes in Afghanistan, Syria, and Iraq.
My god, that is such a cowboy fucking setup. I just spotted that. His microphone's clipped onto the top of his fucking laptop, which is on the table, which is why you're hearing all the bangs, and there's no filters or anything on it. What the fuck kind of...
And was released to fly to Australia. Assange
right. One less drone, or whatever, one less drone to Yemen, and you could sort that studio out.
Creating an online whistleblower platform for people to submit classified material anonymously. In 2010, WikiLeaks released thousands of classified U.S. documents exposing Washington's war crimes, including killing of civilians by U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan and Syria.
Oh, look, they've got this footage, man. Fuck's sake, how many times do you need to see this shit, you know?
Of the news review, we have a spokesman of the LaRouche organization, Mr. Harley Schlanger, who's joining us from Potsdam, Germany. Also, we have International lawyer Mr. Barry Grossman joining us from Bali, Indonesia.
Right, well, let's move on to opinion pieces through webcams. See, the funny thing is, people in the webcams have got better audio than that guy. So let's have a look and see what the other people are saying and touching on. See if it's so. Let's have a look at the Germans. Can he be the top of our news? Surely not.
Journey, back.
Drugs, really?
CO2 emission and what? Nicaragua.
Well, I think this is it here. It was evil.
You're watching DW News coming to you live from Berlin.
It's everywhere right now. I don't think there's been one news channel I've touched on the day, buddy.
Stands accused of spying. He could face 20 years in prison on charges he
hasn't he shown it?
Also on the show, Julian Assange, a free man. The WikiLeaks founder agrees to a U.S. plea deal with Australia. And at least
they're touching on Kenya.
Killed in Kenya after police opened fire on crowds storming the parliament to protest tax rises. President Ruto calls the unrest a threat to national security and vows to restore order. I'm Claire Richardson. Welcome. The trial against U.S. journalist Evan Gershkovich has begun behind closed doors in the Russian city of Yekaterinburg. The reporter for the Wall Street Journal is accused of spying for the U.S. and could face up to 20 years.
One of the more interesting stories today.
He and his employer denied the charges.
After more than a year under arrest, Russia is now putting Evan Gershkovich on trial. The 32-year-old journalist was detained in March 2023 while reporting
he's a spy
in the city
more
of
than a journalist.
According to his employer, the Wall Street Journal. Russian prosecutors allege Gershkovich was collecting secret information from a tank factory for the CIA. Gershkovich denies the charges. So do his family, employer, and the White House, who say he was wrongfully detained.
Espionage charges are ridiculous.
They're scary space.
The targeting of American citizens by Russian government is unacceptable.
Yeah, let me just think. Unicorns, fairies, leprechauns. And there's no way the United States, through the CIA, would have anybody embedded in any of the journalist organisations which, through the tag of journalism, could go into all different countries to spy on the biggest tank factory, battle tank factory in the world. That is beyond, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Igor woke up one morning and went, right, I'm going to target a Wall Street journalist guy just for the sake of it. Aye, that's right, just for the sake of it. That's what I believe her. I believe Scary Spice, do you?
We condemn the detention of Mr. Gershkovich in the strongest terms.
Gershkovich
you need to go like strongest.
New Jersey. He moved to Russia in 2017 to work there as a correspondent. The Wall Street Journal hired him in 2022. Gershkovich is the first American journalist to be jailed in Russia. Hired him in Russia. Gershkovich is the son of Soviet emigres and grew up in New Jersey.
Strongest terms.
Oh, hold on, there's
is the son of Soviet emigres and grew up.
Emigres? Did she mean immigrants? Right, so this just keeps getting better and better and better. So ex-Ruskies spout out a wee kid.
In New Jersey, he moved to Russia in 2017 to work there as a correspondent.
So he moved there in 2017 to work as a correspondent.
The Wall Street Journal hired him in 2022.
Those accusations of espionage are ridiculous. I believe Scary Spice. I don't know about yous, I believe Scary Spice.
Gershkovich is the first American journalist to be jailed in Russia on espionage charges since the Soviet era. Despite strained relations, US and Russian officials have indicated that talks are ongoing about releasing Gershkovich in a prisoner swap.
Let him go.
But the US and Russia have not yet reached an agreement. In an interview in February of this year, Vladimir Putin indicated he wants to swap Gershkovich for a Russian hitman sentenced to life imprisonment in Germany for murdering a Chechen dissident in Berlin in 2019. Some experts say the trial could help bring the negotiations forward.
It's a very unfortunate situation all around, but this may be a glimmer of hope in his eventual coming home, because this trial will establish a verdict, and Russian justice needs to see a verdict in a case before I believe that they're willing to do some negotiation for whatever might be the outcome.
They're not going to let him go before he says he's guilty.
Russia is
that
hiding
makes
his
sense.
case away from the public, while for Gershkovich,
Russia are hiding this guy's case away from the public. Reported on every fucking Western news organisation I've came across, which anybody in Russia can get a hold of. They can listen and hear English, which is most of them, and they've got them in a big fucking fish tank in the middle of a fucking in the court for a open press conference, which that's part of the Ruski's procedure. I mean, how bizarro is this fucking report?
uncertainty continues.
A little earlier, DW's Grzegorz Szymanowski told me why this trial is being held.
The Western press is getting as bad as RT.
Well, Claire, this is actually a standard procedure in Russia for cases of alleged espionage or treason, because proceedings are considered a state secret. So the reporters were let in the room just for a few minutes before the trial has started. Now, during the proceedings,
in school, he was definitely called Plug, wasn't he?
Members or U.S. embassy staff, for that matter, are allowed in the room, and people familiar with such cases are saying that this type of isolation puts additional psychological burden on the accused person, Mr. Gershkovich, in that case.
So tell us a little bit more about the charges against Gershkovich and how long he could potentially be facing prison time.
20 years, he was charged with gathering information on a tank factory.
Prosecutors allege that Gershkovich was gathering information about a defense contractor, a company producing...
You see how all the news channels regurgitate the exact same shit, different accent, sometimes a slightly different spin, and they'll give different priorities to different stories depending on their editorial stance.
Gershkovich is obviously denying the charges, so does his employer. The Wall Street Journal is calling this a sham trial with fake charges, and is also stressing that
they just decided one morning
and that he was accredited by Russia to do journalistic work in the country. Now, the charges that he is facing carry up to 20 years in prison, and we need to remember that acquittals are extremely rare in the
somebody that Russia said could be a journalist, they just decided to arrest one day for no reason and then parade them to the world.
So this is the outlook for this process.
So is this, as some say, about Russia's effort to strengthen its hand in the event of a possible prisoner exchange?
Because this is something citizens, these
news outlets are honestly pathetic. There's Assange.
Be able to walk up and down.
Guy's got a cool hat.
And feel the sand through his toes in winter. That lovely chill.
Why does he get a Russian hat on? Well, that's my understanding of a hat like that. It reminds me of Ruski hats.
Dutch Prime Minister Mark. NATO has officially announced outgoing Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte as its next Secretary General. He will take over from Jens Stoltenberg on the 1st of October. Some of the biggest challenges for Russia
big revolving door in it.
War in Ukraine and uncertainty over the US's future commitment to the alliance. Taiwan says its Coast Guard chased away Chinese naval vessels from waters off one of its islands. The incident is part of what Taiwan calls Chinese harassment that has escalated. China views the democratically governed island as
Remember,
a
folks, well, definitely not at war.
And a dam in the U.S. state of Minnesota has been partially breached by flooding. The deluge destroyed a power station and is threatening to sweep away a nearby house. Some local residents were evacuated as a precaution, but water levels are...
That's obviously because of global warming, not the dam itself, you know?
At least 13 people
Don't even
have been
think about
killed
what
in
a dam
Kenya
is.
after demonstrators broke into the parliament amid protests over tax rises. Kenyan President William Ruto has condemned the violence as a threat to national security.
Bridgeton reckons they're trying to start war with Russia to prevent the election from happening.
Lawmakers voted to approve a controversial finance bill.
What are you talking about, the American one, buddy?
It was the deadliest day of the protests so far.
I still need to watch that video,
the
man.
most direct assault on Kenya's government in decades. After several failed attempts, thousands of protesters finally reached Parliament. They forced their way inside, ransacked...
Well, mate, people, it definitely seems that the world... I don't even... I think it's already happening. I mean, like, you can't pummel billions of pounds treasure and billions of pounds worth of treasure and equipment into Ukraine to fight Russia and not call it a war just because you're employing the locals to fight on the front line. Kenya is an old Commonwealth country, right? And as you may or may not be aware, there's lots of tit-for-tat struggle for power inside China, inside Africa. For example, right? Libya, a very not commonly known fact about Libya is one of the agendas was to kick out China. China was in there on the behest of Gaddafi, building hundreds of infrastructure, not using loans, not using the IMF, but building hundreds. They had hundreds of cities and stuff. China built their own cities, and Gaddafi was getting all the Chinese workers in to build hundreds of infrastructure. The West was like, no, 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 no. The Chinos were the first ones out of Dodge when the Western allies, as it was called then, decided to go and kick us.
Ruto now
Fucking
has
hell,
2 weeks
man.
to sign the finance bill into law.
We're going to turn to
rational.
sports now, where Austria has staged
No.
a surprising group with 3.
No, 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 no. I can't be the
Find
bottom
that
of
on
it.
social media.
Can't be the bottom of the river. They got music. So let's just walk on.
After war, 90, you know, the million sectarian into be another, especially in
Right, well, I think that's that one over. We've just went into a barrage of pish.
something to start. The colors.
Maybe. Aye, because that's close to live, isn't it? So what is it's just...
over 5 years now in custody since Julian Assange is spent in that prison. He'll get time and
He's
credit
got a
for all
cool
of
beard,
that,
man.
time served under this this plea deal here. And really, I think it was going to be tough to figure out how to work something like this out, given that he had been there for that long of an amount of time already. And even if
it's live, but it's no live. I don't know if you know what I'm meaning by that.
Vivek Murthy declared gun violence a public health crisis for the first time ever. The nation's top doctor also called for universal background checks and a ban on automatic rifles. The National Rifle Association called it, quote,
"They're coming for our guns! There's no got any guns! They're coming for our guns!"
Now to breaking news.
Oh, breaking news. Oh, she's hot,
American journalist Evan Gershkovich is underway this morning in Russia. The 32-year-old
Oh,
Wall Street
how do
Journal
the Yankee
reporter
Doodle
was
Dandies?
arrested in March of last year. The U.S. State Department has
Again, there's something that calls itself news, just using information from elsewhere and then maybe sticking the camera in a few places. These are not new. This is not news. This is not information. This is theatre of information.
Is designated Gershkovich as wrongfully detained in Russia. For the latest, let's go to Matt Bodner, who's following developments for us. Good morning, Matt. What exactly is Gershkovich accused of?
Good morning, Francis. Well, Gershkovich is being accused of no less than espionage, and this is really one of the most serious charges that can be brought against you in the
Well,
Russian
at least they don't have that
Federation.
American
The trials are held
presenter
behind closed doors
accent.
with the case and the evidence all classified top secret. Now, we have seen Gershkovich this morning. Reporters were allowed into the room for about 10 to 15 minutes before the start of the hearing. Gershkovich appearing in those videos to put on a very strong face, as we've seen throughout this case. Though we have seen him today for the first time with his head shaved. He has been moved, by the way, from Moscow to Yekaterinburg, where he was arrested, where this trial is taking place. I want to stress how little we know and how little we can be expected to learn about what is taking place in that courtroom today, what will take place moving forward. The court has issued a statement saying that investigators accuse him of traveling to Yekaterinburg on assignment for the CIA to collect information about tank production at the Uralvagon Zavod plant. That is Russia's main tank factory. There's little reason to believe that Gershkovich will not be convicted of these charges. The U.S. government, for example, considers him a political prisoner who's been targeted by the Russian government as a pawn to trade for Russian hackers, also spies detained by the West. More to the point, Russia has a shockingly low acquittal rate across all categories of crimes, less than 1%. Acquittals in espionage cases specifically are virtually unheard of, especially with the war in Ukraine. So far, I have to say Gershkovich's case has followed a very similar pattern to that of another American detained by Russia for espionage, that, of course, being Paul Whelan. Whelan was arrested in Moscow in 2018 on those charges. That case took a year or two to reach a verdict. He's still serving time under those charges. He received 16 years. So, unfortunately, Francis, it looks like we're still kind of have a lot of ways to go for Evan here. Back to you.
All right. Matt Bodner for us. Matt, thank you. New this morning,
That was quite. At least it didn't go out like these are ridiculous charges.
Assange pleaded guilty to conspiracy to obtain and disclose national defense information when he published American states fighting extradition.
Got to love the different variety of information you get from your news holes in it. It's amazing.
Effective immediately, and federal gun charge license has now been suspended in Washington, D.C. after his criminal conviction on federal gun charges. The D.C. Court of Appeals said the suspension was effective immediately and directed to institute a formal
He's fucked up royally, that guy, ain't he?
The board could recommend Biden be disbarred if it finds that he was convicted of a serious crime. His representative did not immediately return a request for comment. A quick-thinking police officer in New Jersey hailed a hero after saving an elderly couple from a house fire. New body cam footage captures the dramatic scene as the officer races towards a burning home engulfed in smoke, discovering a trapped couple inside. His first rescued the wife, then he saved the disabled husband. None of them suffered serious injuries. Let's turn now to the flood emergency unfolding in the Midwest.
That was good, though.
Spilled into neighborhoods as communities in Minnesota watch to see if their dam will hold up. Here's NBC's Adrian Broaddus.
Catastrophic flooding across the Midwest.
Climate change,
in South
right?
Dakota, neighborhoods
Got
off
to-
the Big Sioux River are
please.
unrecognizable, with streets completely caved in and people unable to access their homes. Some cars washed away, others are teetering on the edge of those collapsed roads. And the water is still gushing. In Minnesota, entire communities are submerged.
We literally watched our childhood,
What does historic flooding mean?
trees, buildings.
I mean, when was the last time? When did records start? 20 years ago?
That's our life.
Jenny Barnes grew up here. Her father and brother live in this house.
Or is it flooding like that because of the dam broke?
It's not just their home they're worried about. The family has owned the dam store for more than 50 years.
That's what we worry about the most. The store, we know the house is gone. We know we'll never be able to go back in that house.
Anymore. But let's keep the dam store. That's the
Yes,
main goal. But there's
that's our
nothing we can
business.
do
It's our
about it.
livelihood.
And in Sioux City, Iowa, the water levels are going down. Residents aren't out of the woods yet. Shaquille Brewster is there.
24 hours ago, this road was completely flooded. The water here is clearly receding, but you see the Big Sioux River is still at historic levels.
Rich
Historic, like, what do you mean?
How weird is it to be this close
to the house, but not able to access it.
Right. It's very, very. Yeah,
What is the fucking Lilo?
It's right there.
Yeah. It's
A
within
Lilo!
reach, but it's not within reach.
With a strong line of thunderstorms already wreaking havoc
It's in
across
reach, but it's
Michigan,
not in
more
reach.
rain is set to return here by the end of the week.
And our thanks to Adrian for that report. And for a look where that severe weather is heading next. Severe weather then, coming back even more severe
This
weather.
is in the midst of the UK with severe weather.
As we get through that, still wind
Right,
down
that's
here
it.
as the week goes on.
It was a wee different flavour for NBC at least. That was a wee bit better than... Oh, this will be interesting. This is the Chinas, Europe. And... Where am I? I'm over here. So... And it's on the YouTubes. So it's a decent playback thingy-majig. Well, it should be. Assange, Kenya, Gaza and Ukraine. That's today's international news. Assange.
5 people are shot dead and over 150 are injured as protests in Kenya over tax increases intensify. China and Peru's comprehensive strategic...
You think the mob was rolled up by the power of the interwebs? Oh shit, hold on. He zoned out there. It's actually something interesting.
Peru's comprehensive strategic partnership gets a boost as President Dina Boluarte pays a state visit to China. Just 1 month to go until the opening of the Paris 2020.
China, Peru. So is that China making moves down in South America? It's interesting, by the way.
Coming to you live from Beijing. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange walks free.
Right, I want to hear the Peru stuff. Remember, this is the old CCTV, the Chinese news hole. So this is what, and remember, they don't speak English in China, believe it or not. Assange, Kenya. So where's the...
Up the country's debt. According to Statista, by December 2023, Kenya had accumulated a public debt of about $82 billion. The East African and local publication estimates the country's total debt service stood tax revenue.
It's like just slavery by debt, man.
And the Kenya 24 budget, the government has 5% vehicle addition.
Attack on a police station and places of worship in Russia's Dagestan Republic.
This is the only... This is the only news outlet that's touched on this today.
Deadly terror attacks in the last 3 months alone, highlighting the growing threat of militant groups reportedly linked to the Islamic State. Sunday's deadly attack on a police station and
Reportedly linked to Islamic State because but the Islamic State have like a spokesman or something? We claim that one, but no that one, but this one, but no this one. This is going to...
While Dagestan mourns the victims of Sunday's attack, an investigation is underway. Analysts say the Islamic State, outlawed in Russia, is likely behind the attack. There have been warnings from several quarters. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization recently flagged active recruitment by a listed terrorist organization called Vilayat Kafkas, following the March 22 ISK Crocus City Hall attack.
In the Caucasus south of Russia, another regional branch of the Islamic State is asserting itself. It will obviously not stop with these two attacks in Derbent and Makhachkala. They will certainly try to repeat such terror attacks in southern Russia and maybe in Moscow. Unfortunately, what we saw in Dagestan on June 23 shows that local security forces were not ready for such an attack. They did not work proactively, but worked post factum to stop the terrorists.
Analysts are warning that terrorist groups are targeting Russia's weakest links. They are calling on Russian law enforcement authorities to step up their efforts towards protecting the country.
First of all, it is now necessary to audit the activities of law
Wow, there's only
enforcement
63
agencies.
people watching
Secondly,
this,
it is
man.
necessary to further investigate, and we already know that the son and nephew
He looks
of the
Russian,
head of
doesn't
the
he?
Segokalinsky district adhere to this kind of radical beliefs. He knew, and he confessed it to himself.
Early in June, 6 inmates linked to the Islamic State took hostages at a detention center in the southern city of Rostov.
Analysts say radical ideology is on the rise worldwide for several reasons, which include the
I was
conflict
going
in
to
the
say
Middle
she's
East
Russian.
and in Ukraine. Some point to the impact of the Taliban taking over power in Afghanistan and the shift in global geopolitics.
For Moscow, it is a reminder that Russia is fighting on more
I
than
don't know
one
if this
front.
is just because my tinfoil hat's on. I still don't believe that a lot. I believe that a lot of these terror groups are like, whoever controls them at the top controls them, and it isn't too hard to find a religious crackpot to carry out your will. Tommy Robinson's Windy Like an Army, a good example.
Experts say that resurgence of the Islamic State is being seen in several regions of the world, and solving that problem should start in Afghanistan, where militants are perpetrating international acts of terrorism. In the meantime, acts of terrorism such as the attacks in Dagestan and Moscow are a reminder that cross-border cooperation is direly needed in a world grappling with conflicts. Dasha Chernashova, CGTN, Moscow.
Still to come on The World Today. China and Peru's comprehensive strategic partnership gets a boost with President Dina Boluarte's state visit to China. And just 1 month to go until...
See, I want to check out this Peru stuff, man. That will be their adverts.
To Saturday. Peru's President Dina Boluarte is on a state visit to China from Tuesday to Saturday. She's currently visiting southern China's Shenzhen.
And this is why we're at war. China's influence worldwide has grown exponentially.
Five-day visit to China include important political and business meetings in cities of Shenzhen, Shanghai, and Beijing. And Shenzhen is the first stop of her visit. She went to the Nanshan Museum first, where an exhibition is on display, boasting a collection of 168 pieces from 14 museums in Peru. Around 11 a.m., she arrived at the headquarters of Huawei, the leading Chinese
Pretty sure she's cross-eyed, man. It's doing my tits in.
Boluarte had a meeting with the company's high-level officials. An agreement will be signed for the training of professionals in new information technology, especially in the artificial intelligence. Later this afternoon, President Boluarte will meet with Wang Chuanfu, the chairman of the BYD company, and she's reportedly going to invite him to installing an electric car plant in Peru. Just now, I've talked to...
How much do you hear electric cars getting talked about left, right and centre? Does Elon Musk's emerging power, sorry, not power, because PayPal was the shit which made him in it, but why he went into electric cars?
Peru 5 years ago were only 5%, and actually it's 25%. So Chinese cars are coming into Peru, and Peru want to be part of the
Because
supply
China,
chain.
like 5G, are ahead of the game when it comes to electric cars.
What you need to build in cars, so we will be part of the supply chain and welcome China and Peru also, no?
She will wrap up to the 2-day visit to in Shenzhen.
She's
and
fucking
to
cross-eyed,
Shanghai,
man.
In Beijing, she will meet with President Xi Jinping. So experts say this visit is likely to elevate economic cooperations, political trust, and all-round exchanges between the two countries to a new level.
Well, as you were just hearing there, President Boluarte has an extremely tight schedule during her 5-day state visit to China. Peru's
Wondered where he was going there.
Noted that Boluarte's visit will open up new opportunities and further expand cooperation between both countries.
Es una agenda muy nutrida.
Who's
It
this?
is a very busy schedule and has been settled.
Peruvian
There are
foreign
not
minister.
even 10 minutes of free time.
The Peruvian delegation will have presidents of important Peruvian business associations, along with their Chinese counterparts. We have on both sides the interest to deepen
America will be loving that.
for greater cooperation and
I
investment.
don't know if he's heard Donald Trump, and he was talking about electric cars, and he was talking about putting tariffs on China, trying to import all the electric cars from South America.
Chinese authorities say the Chang'e 6 mission, which is man's first attempt to retrieve samples from the lunar far side, is a complete success. Chinese President Xi Jinping sent a congratulatory message to
Bing! I had my microwave just went off.
He also said that China would further
All
develop
right,
its deep
Doberman,
space
how you doing, my
exploration
man?
and enhance international exchanges. Designers and experts involved in the Chang'e 6 mission have reacted to the success.
It's 53 days since the mission launch. By working hard together, we've accomplished the world's first sample return mission from the far side of the moon. I'm excited and thrilled. My career started with the Chang'e program.
You're excited and thrilled? Tell your fucking face, mate!
So proud to be a part of it.
We were full of best wishes when we see off the probe. Now that it landed, our wishes came true. From 2004 to 2024, it's exactly 20 years in China's lunar exploration. The success today is a gift to the program. President Xi's congratulatory message affirmed our work. I think what I have done has been very meaningful and worthwhile.
The Chang'e 6 mission is China's most complex lunar exploration mission to date. It required relay communication, coordination of multiple components, and flight controlling has been difficult. We often had only one chance to make things right. No mistakes allowed. We are so proud and honoured to be able to complete it.
It's quite a feat though, isn't it?
So inspired today, and then we are
So you can say the winner of World War III is going to get the moon.
The Chang'e mission led to a lot of international cooperation. For instance, France provided a Dawn instrument for the mission, which measures radon on the moon. On top of that, a few days ago, a satellite jointly developed by China and France was launched. Our reporter Roulet spoke with Philippe
It's interesting.
the president of the French Space Agency.
But bear in mind that Russia and the West, NASA, are still cooperating up in space.
And this year, the Chang'e 6 probe also carries a French Dawn instrument to the moon. So how do you assess the collaboration in the space sector between China and France?
Everything has really started about 20 years ago. At this time, our president, I think it was Jacques Chirac, really started and really pushed for developing this space cooperation. It took a bit of time because, I mean, the teams of scientists, of engineers did not know well each other, but now they do, and they work very well together. I must say that while you have mentioned, for instance, Dawn, which is an instrument, a French instrument that was on the Chang'e 6 mission on the surface of the moon. Just to say that the last time we had a French instrument on the moon was in 1970, so it was quite some time ago. And it really shows that it takes time to get people along, to build trust, to build confidence, and this is the case today.
So for a French space agency, your focus will be on scientific exploration and satellites. Can we expect more collaboration with Chinese scientists in the future?
China has made a lot of effort to develop its space industry, space business, and we can see that there are many launches.
Did Xi Jinping no stop off at France? Was it Germany? Pretty sure it was France actually, in his last visit, and then he went to Hungary as well.
Mission of Earth observation, you have mentioned CFOSAT, exploration with Chang'e 6.
And then you've got the fracture between the UK and America, the UK and the EU, and the UK is meant to be moving more towards
to make a successful scientific cooperation,
the United States.
Basically, you need to have the ideas, the scientific ideas, the concept that you want to push and what you want to do as a mission. So it's really a technical and a scientific discussion.
The landscape of the world is definitely changing quickly, man. Oh, here's some good news. Global Climate
Remainder
Watch.
of the week as deadly torrential rains continue to lash
South China.
But this year the rainfall is quite heavy. Water speed
Yeah,
is quite
man,
rapid
they're
in the
beautiful
ground for several
people, aren't they?
systems, and still the river is high. They stay.
Heads to Australia after being
Assange, Kenya, Peru,
with the on-field
Olympics.
The Eiffel Tower too high.
Well, the Olympics will be something to look forward to.
Can AI change the way cities are run? Sand Technologies shows me how their platform uses AI to...
AI implies some sort of intelligence, not very clever algorithms programmed by somebody, a human being. Organic intelligence. I'm sick of this shit. But it's becoming very clear, at least to me, why this is getting perpetually fucking rammed down our throat. AI, AI, AIO, AI, AI, AIO, AI, AIO. And on this farm, he had a pig. E-I-E-I-O. So, and it's because all the technology companies are rolling out shit and they're branding it AI, because it's just very clever algorithms. Very clever algorithms. Okay, I don't know.
Determine where to place an EV charging station. It considers millions of data points in calculating that these buildings are this city's best options.
That is where we used
Calculates using a calculation put in by a human being. Not me. I've got intelligence. I know how to calculate this. I went, no. I'm going to take all this data and use this fucking calculation that's been input by a programmer into me. If the computer could talk, because we all know it's artificial intelligence. I mean, this is laughable, folks.
Figure out where there's charging stations, how much they're being consumed, again, sensors, where they need to build more capacity.
Sands also used AI to help a UK telecommunications company determine where to lay an internet fiber line underground. If it's too expensive to build under roads, it can instantly recalculate to route it under sidewalks instead.
I look at it, AI is empowering a citizen to live more efficiently, to live within their city.
That's just trying to sell you shit. That's what it is.
Digital twin concept.
How do I analyze that information almost instantaneously? I can have, instead of monitoring and continuously...
A computer that's programmed by an organic, intelligent person. And then it's off to the weather. Well, that's me done 2 hours. So I'm going to go and make the most of my day. Try and get away from the doom and gloom news cycle. But I will be doing the Daily PoliTICS every day from here to the run-up to the election, because it should be fun. And then I will be holding my own election. As much fun as that sounds. So stick a wee thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Let's have a wee look at the poll. So way out in front, I just wish that I could have put more options on the poll, you know. I would have put 9/11 in there as well. And then like any other suggestions would have been welcome. If you think World War III is on, when did it start? Hasdak, how you doing, my man? That's me done 2 hours, so I'm going to go and make the most of the rest of my day instead of regurgitating all this stuff. But go and check it back on the replay, my man. Get stuck into the poll as well. I will end it in a wee minute or two, but there was 16 votes and the majority seem to be edging towards Iraq. Hold on, I've got the date of the Iraq war, which is sometimes it's... I love to see things in timelines, you know, it makes things appear a lot clearer. So you had 9/11 2001, you had Afghanistan 2001, right? But you could say that was like laying the... I would argue that I would say you could maybe argue that's laying the groundwork, you know, getting your chips, getting your chips in place, getting your pieces in place. Then you had Iraq in 2003. But again, Iraq was more, for me, laying the groundwork in the sense that it wasn't one-on-one. Saddam Hussein was under the Western thumb, was the West's pal. We used Iraq to the Iraq-Iran war. Millions died, I'm pretty sure. In fact, I'm acting like I've not got Google. How many died in Iran-Iraq war? 500,000? Is that all? Total number of casualties, 1 million, to twice that number. Right, okay, well, it was a pretty horrendous war, man, in relatively speaking terms. And Saddam Hussein was using all the weapons sold to him by America through Donald Rumsfeld. A lot of people might remember the famous video clip of Rumsfeld and Saddam Hussein getting on like a house on fire. So Saddam Hussein was like a Western puppet that went rogue, and the West went in and smashed him. I don't know if he was like, because he had like all the equipment and all that he had was from the West. I don't know whether he was welcoming another motherfuckers, whether it be the Ruskies or the Chinas, and that's why the West had to go in and smash them. I know that's what happened in Libya. I know. That's what I believe happened in Libya, because the first people out of Dodge when NATO, Western allies, invaded Libya was the Chinese, who'd built their own cities and stuff and were powering fucking infrastructure projects and investment into Libya. The Chinese and Gaddafi were like that, and the Western allies went, no, we won't be having that because it gives China a foothold, a beachhead in Africa. I would have went for Syria. Let's see, I've got this. So Afghanistan was in 2001, Iraq was 2003, then there was a big long gap to Libya, 2014, and then I fucked that up. I'm reading the information I put in my own comment box and I fucked it, but the Syrian War 2014 was that? They also call it 2011. Now, for me, that's what I would have voted Syria, just because that's when it was first kind of undeniable that the West and Russia were fighting over territory. I didn't see that happening inside Iraq or Libya, but in Libya it was just kicking. It wasn't so much. Well, it was kicking the Chinese out in Libya, so you could say that was maybe the start of World War III. But for the life of me, I haven't seen Saddam Hussein's connections to anybody else, or the Chinese or Russia, because they're basically the only big players in trying to increase their influence in Iraq at the time. But I might stand corrected. But out of the 16 votes, 62% say Iraq, 19% Syria, 12% Afghanistan, and 6% Libya. So just interesting to see where people's heads are at, because it's a definitely interesting argument to be had. So aye, guys and girls, I'll be doing this every morning at 9 bells between now and the election. Keep myself out of trouble and all that jazz. Is that all? I don't know if your BP undermined Iraq. That makes sense, mate. Aye, it was same in Iran. It's British Petrol. It was Iran. It was the revolution in Iran kicked out British Petroleum, and that's why there's some would argue they're still pretty much in the crosshairs. So that doesn't surprise me, buddy. That whole Persian Gulf, man, because of Rule Britannia and stuff. We went over there and fucking laid pipe, let's say. Put in a heavy lot of, gained a lot of influence in that area. That's why Kuwait is like the petrol station in the west, because that's at the, like the, what do you call it, the apex, the top of the Persian Gulf. And then you've got Iran on one side and Saudi Arabia on the other. And stick fucking Qatar and all that in there, and go and look at the links between Qatar and the royal family, the Saudi royal family and the British royal family. Iran used to be British Petroleum. They kicked out British Petroleum and now they're in the crosshairs. And then like all the other there's a few other wee kind of kingdoms I think dotted around there. Where are we? British Petroleum undermined Iraq. What's so valuable in Syria? I think it's because it borders Israel, mate. I think it's an old Soviet state. Syria used to be under the Soviet influence back in the day. I do believe the Ba'ath Party were NATO. I don't know that abbreviation, buddy. I'm away to Blitz Creek Gardens the day, lads. Pensioners and junkies. What do you mean, buddy? Your Tommy videos yesterday were funny. Oh, I know, mate. It's a fucking joke. The guy's a fucking scam artist, man. I mean, it's not even about the politics of these arguments or any shit like that, man. It's like, guy's on the take. You know what I mean? He's moaning about borders and having stronger borders and letting people into your country illegally and all that, while fucking pleading guilty to doing that to enter the United States. The only thing the only reason you would do that, I would argue, to enter the United States is because you know you would get knocked back because of your criminal convictions, which I believe there's 5 of, or 4 of. 5. 5, he's been convicted of 5, because I think he's served fucking 5 sentences or been convicted 5 times. In fact, it's 5 sentences he's fucking served. So, and then for him, he's like, oh, I'm arrested again for breaking the law, give me money, waka waka waka. Fucking hilarious, man. Have a good day, you too, my man, unicorn. Easy 300 quid. Can't pass that up, buddy. But the weather's piss today, man. It's like fucking horrible, warm, fucking grey. Don't know if you East Coasters have got it the same, my man. So, aye, guys and girls, I'll be doing the stick a wee thumbs up if you appreciate the Daily PoliTITS. So if you like politics but sick of the tits, then get your fix from the Daily PoliTITS. I think I've nailed that. I think I've got that down. I think that's the way I'm going to go with it. I see no Luton Liar. I was speaking to Luton Lion yesterday, buddy, and she like it was during a live stream actually when I was talking about Tommy being arrested. And she was telling me that he's not had any drugs convictions and he's never had a jury trial, you know, all the spin. And then when you go and actually like do your deep research, first page of Google search results, you find out he's been 5 convictions, and one of the biggest flags would have been him pleading guilty to entering a country illegally or using false documents or borrowed documents. I don't know how it would boil down in legal terms, but he used his pal's passport to enter America. The only thing I can surmise is why he would do that, because he knew his criminal convictions would, the Yankee Doodle Dandies would knock him back. Not for political reasons, but because they don't allow convicted criminals in. And I don't know the ins and outs of this. I would imagine, in fact, what was it? That Avi Yemeni guy get knocked back going to New Zealand at one point as well because of his previous convictions. So this is nothing new to this mob. So they're doing it knowing that if they do get arrested, they can hand out the begging bowl, and when they take the lawyer fees off, they'll be making a fucking killing. And all their free-thinking patriots and all that are all ball deep. So, hashtag, I'll be cutting grass today. I'll be using a grinder. She was up here yesterday. Sprinkle a little hash on top, salad bowl, Luton's alright. I really like that. I don't know, I get her banter and all that. I do get suspicious that she's been sent in by the Tommy Robinson's army to monitor or try and just constantly drip in how good Tommy is, you know? Because I used to let a lot of comments go, right? I used to let a lot of comments go. Then I noticed a pattern. Any video that I would talk about Tommy Robinson, you would just get a barrage. I mean, an absolute fucking barrage. People that are there not for the right reason, not because they even listen to a word I'm saying, know what I'm on about, but just a barrage of comments. And then I read somewhere, I've read a few articles, that a lot of people are really influenced by the comment section on videos. This is new to me because being dyslexic, I fucking very rarely read any of the comment sections. I don't get lost in comment sections. I'm all about the visuals because I struggle to read. Fuck, I really do. I'm not even joking. So I never realised how powerful that comment section is. And see, once I realised that, no man, the people want to just put posters of how good Tommy Robinson are all over my videos. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to allow it. And that's what when I put my tinfoil hat on. That's what I think. But I'm more happy with fucking good fucking hearty banter, and fucking Tommy Robinson fans are more than welcome here, man. Everybody's welcome here. It's just how you conduct yourself, really. That's it. It's the prerequisite, man. Because I'm not here to stress myself out for fucking nothing. I mean, I'm getting fuck all for it. I'm getting paid sweet Fanny Adams for this. I'm doing this for my own enjoyment. So if I'm not enjoying it, out. It's as simple as that. This isn't freedom of speech shit. I'm not hiding behind freedom of speech. This is a fucking Kips Clips dictatorship channel, man. I'm not joking, man. I am not doing this for the good of my fucking health. And I'm not doing it to let fucking idiots online wind me up. Or try to wind me up. Do you know what I mean? It's so see-through. What are you doing here? I mean, like, what are you doing here? I do not go on fucking Celtic forums or fucking Celtic channels just to tell them how good Rangers are. I don't do that. I don't turn up. I don't go to Celtic supporters clubs. So why do Tommy Robinson, fucking cult of Tommy Robinson fans seem compulsed, OCD, windy licking army? Anyway, man, I could rant about that shit all day. Because I've seen it, man, I've noticed it when you read all the messages and see the patterns. And you can tell when your video's been put on a pro-Tommy Robinson fucking chat group or whatever. Go here and fucking do this. You can tell. And then when you call them out, it's just like, boom. So you make one video about Tommy Robinson, boom, you get like 1,000, 2,000 views. You make another one, boom, nothing. Especially when you start pointing out like the absolute holes in his tripe. nothing they can say can fucking deny. Like, number one, you can't get into Canada and America. You can't get into those countries without meeting certain criteria. Some of that criteria is related to past criminal convictions. Tommy Robinson, Stevie Laxley, Lenin or whatever the fuck. Because I'm pretty sure Tommy Robinson won't be on his passport. Can't get into those countries because he's a lot of countries because of his previous convictions for fraud, assault, and for fraud and assault. I think most of them are for. One of them was against an undercover police officer, which was funny. It's the grift is on. I know Hashtag. Wah fucking Fozzie the Bear was a fucking head grifter, wasn't he? She's well brainwashed with the Tommy Tart stuff. Mate, it's easily done. I see if I wasn't, I don't know, I could have easily fell into the Tommy Tard. I could have easily fell into the communist shit. Do you know what I mean? Because the demographic, this is my humble belief, the demographic he was set up to mobilise is me. I'm his demographic. A fucking lager drinking football fan, fucking idiot. I'm his demographic. I could have get sucked in with his tripe if I wasn't like going, like, hold on a sec. How did Bigfoot UFOs end up me wanting to fucking hate Muslims and join UKIP? You know, I was asking myself these questions, and then you could see through it easily, especially when you've seen his BMP past, Jim Dawson, who he is, what he's all about. The fact that he's admitted appropriating Count Spunkula's fucking Nazi saluting pug is laughable. And then even when you look how Count Spunkula ended up in court and all that, a fucking charade. That's what I believe. I believe that was an absolute charade. You know, how much dough did that cunt make? How much dough did that guy know he was going to make? How much dough is that guy still making, telling bedtime stories on fucking YouTube on the back of a Nazi saluting pug? Right? He hangs about with a Zionist, Tommy Robinson, quite happy to take him down his house and all that. A Nazi saluting pug, but it was a Jewish group. One fucking complaint. He went through Airdrie Sheriff Court, just down the road for the Orange Lodge in Airdrie, funnily enough. And do you know whose Orange Lodge that was? Old Orange Lodge. Jim Dawson's. That's right, folks. Tommy Robinson, Jim Dawson was the PR guy, he's for Airdrie. His Orange Lodge was in Airdrie. That's the lodge you get kicked out of for being too extreme. And Jim Dawson, so I'm going to argue that Jim Dawson might still have some ties in and around that area. Let's say some Jewish groups. Some of them might have been in the lodge, who knows? And they can talk. What's the word I'm trying to fucking concocted? This whole fucking PR stunt, like, right? We'll put him through the court, couple of £100 fine, say it's freedom of speech shit, bring up Tommy Robinson, and boom shakalaka, you have a lot of people. Do you know what happened to me outside that courtroom? I'd rocked up, and everybody, oh, right, come on, how you doing? Oh. Well, a few folk were anyway. Then the second I went up and started asking Tommy Robinson's questions, the whole fucking Tommy Robinson's windy licking online army fucking turned against me. Cops had to get in between me and the crowd before I get mauled with Tommy Robinson fucking windy lickers. And that's why I wouldn't take Luton Lion up on an offer to go down to fucking Tommy Robinson's windy licking army's day out. Or picnic, that's what we'll use, picnic. Anyway, so I could talk about that shit all day, man. The grift is on. Okay, Doberman, my man. So, stick a wee thumbs up. Stay tuned for other live streams and all that jazz. I'm going to go and make the most of the rest of my day. And I shall see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Roberto, my man. Catch you after. Doberman, Unicorn, Devon, Hasdak. Amen. And Slavin was in earlier as well. Thanks for tuning in. Stick a wee thumbs up, and I'll hopefully catch you tomorrow at some point. Till then, try no die. Get it? Got it? Good. Catchies. Keeps clips. And remember, citizens, always subscribe. Hit the notification bell as well. And $19.95 plus shipping and handling will keep you out of hell.